Back to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on your home for the St. Louis Cardinals. 102.1, The One.
And we bid you good morning, everyone. Welcome to the starting lineup. It is great to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful St. Patrick's Day in the Ozarks. Ned Reynolds joined by
Dwight Glenn.
Hey, top of the morning to you, Guy Newcomb.
Gonna. Anyway, Art Haynes will be joining us a little bit later on for the next 2 hours. We are right here talking sports and whatever, and like to hear from you. And yes, the phone system is working today, 417-447-1021. Not only is that the phone, we also get your text messages on that same line. So it's up to you, text or phone us, and yes, we will be able to take your calls today. Starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont Springfield, folks. Great deals. And yeah, even though it's a little bit on the cold side today, it's going to warm up. We're going to be fine. Everybody will be outside. All the sports gear that you need is right there at Play It Again Sports. By Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit to Marshfield. A couple of left turns, and you're right there at Marshfield Chevrolet on the north side outer road. Then you have Swing Right Golf, which is on South Campbell, just a little bit north of Nixa. And by our friends at Citizens Bank of Rogersville, which has the two locations, one adjacent to Highland Springs and the other in Rogersville itself. Gentlemen, it's a little bit of a rude awakening to go outside today. Here it is, March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and it feels like February 17th or January 17th because it's cold.
It does. It's still March, though, Ned. You know, we've been spoiled with this nice weather, and I think we're going to be in the 80s this weekend, so unfortunately, as you were mentioning, a lot of people, if you didn't get out and cover your plants and you'd already had some plants popping out and blooming, they got hurt this last 2
I
years.
had some tulips that were coming up ahead of time, and I looked at them late yesterday, and they had wilted like Ned Reynolds.
Well, so you're saying you didn't tiptoe through them?
Oh, Tiny Jim. Tiny Jim lives forever.
That's exactly right. You know, at one time, that was the highest rated Tonight Show in history.
Was that the day, or the night, I should say, that he married
Yes.
Miss Vicky?
Yes.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Oh, I do remember it.
We're really dating ourselves now. Everybody's just turned
How
off.
long has that been now?
I think it was 1969. I can Google it and look it up.
Well, Johnny Carson was still the host then, so yeah, it probably goes back that far. That was absolutely a strange set of circumstances. Anyway, gang, we are into the starting five, and if you will, Mr. Glenn.
I would be glad to do that, Ned. My friend Travis Bell grew up with him in Nixa many moons ago, not aging ourselves, but the starting five is brought to you by Travis Bell Home Loans, powered by USA Mortgage. So if you're buying, rebuilding, or refinancing your home, Travis is right there to guide you through every step. Travis has been in the business for over 25 years. They're experts in their field, and their quick response and personalized service makes them the top of the list for seeking home loans. Travis Bell and the USA Mortgage Office is at 3100 South National in Springfield. The number is 417-818-5057, or just go to travisbellhomeloans.com.
And we're very pleased to have Mr. Bell, along with the other sponsors, all part of the starting lineup. This is the starting five, and it's essentially what happened last night. And it was kind of, in a way, kind of a down night in sports. You know, no basketball, virtually none, because it all gets started tonight. And Sean Gallagher will be with us. Let's go over our guests. In just a few minutes, we expect Beth Cunningham will be on and talking a little bit about the Lady Bears going into the play-in round in Austin, Texas, tomorrow night. Then at 7:30, we'll have, or at least around that time, of Corey Riggs from the Missouri State University Bears, talk a little bit about what's going on with them. At 8 o'clock, our buddy Sean Gallagher, who is the area basketball guru for all of these brackets, and there are many of them, he's going to be in, discuss his thoughts on that. Sean will be with us in other outings, too, as the weeks go on, right up until the national championship. And then we have at 8:30,
Trenton Berry,
because we're going to be talking racing dirt. That's what he calls it, and that'll be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, we have plenty of things to talk about. You guys, I assume, watched the baseball game last night between Venezuela and Italy?
I did. It was nice to have something to watch on television, and it is captivating. You can tell this game means more to these players than I thought originally that it would. There is something about the nationality having something to do with it. But in the end, it does show you that professional athletes do not like to lose.
Ever. I don't think any of them in any instance likes to be on the losing side. Now, scoreboard guy, you're into baseball quite a bit. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I tell you what, I've had a ball watching it, and you look at it and you think, my goodness, we can talk about Art a little bit about this, but the Royals have had a lot of players that have played significant roles, whether it be Salvi being the team captain, you've got
Whip.
and Sasquatch. Pasquantino is he is the team captain of Italy. Bobby Witt's played a huge role. Miguel Garcia last night. You talk about after tonight's game, I wouldn't be surprised if a Royal wins MVP, no matter who wins the game tonight.
That's a very good point. Very good point. And you're right, Dwight. These guys, they do give a darn about what they're playing for. What bothers me, and I don't mean bothering in a disturbing sense at all, but the Italian team, though none of those guys live in Italy. And many of them have never been to Italy. Well, the same thing with some of those other nations, too. This is very fragmented along those lines. Now, the Venezuelan players do live, not all of them, but many of them do live in Venezuela. And I think they're probably quite cognizant of the turmoil that nation is going through, along with a lot of others. And that means something to win this one. And it would mean I want USA to win. I'm an American and a veteran. I want the USA out there to win. But it wouldn't disturb me terribly if Venezuela won the thing and restored some national pride.
It'll be interesting tonight. Now, had it been the Dominican Republic, I think we all know that would be dominant Dominican Republic crowd, just kind of like it was against USA.
Yes.
Where do you think the crowd loyalty will be tonight for this final game?
I'm going to say it's with the Venezuelans will have a pretty good turnout, but probably more USA-oriented. I think the stadium, Lone Depot Stadium, which is where the Miami Marlins play, it's not very big in terms of attendance. I think the capacity is 40,000.
I think you're right. I think it's around 38, actually.
Well, they'll have that and more tonight.
The one thing that I've noticed, it happened when they did the most recent version of Busch Stadium, and what you're seeing now, they are getting away from these 60 and 70,000 seat stadiums, and they're actually downsizing because it makes it easier to sell it out, but it's also because of all the suites and everything they're putting in. The new Arrowhead, which I'm sure it won't be called the new Arrowhead, is actually going to have less seats than the current version of Arrowhead.
That's correct. It will.
And there's a lot of season ticket holders that are wondering, what does that mean for me?
Well, the going off to remembering the Chiefs situation, one of the key reasons is it's going to be domed. And that gives the Chiefs an opportunity, in the Kansas City whole level of economy, the opportunity to be a Super Bowl host, which is really what they want, because that means billions of dollars into your economy. That's it. Now, the thought process comes up, well, why can't they dome Arrowhead? Well, I don't know. Not being an architect, I would think it's probably bordering on the impossible, but I don't know that. And there are, let's see, what is this, 2026? Okay, you have 5 years until the decision comes.
There was renderings when both those stadiums were built in Kansas City, and this was back now 50-plus years ago. They had a plan for a dome or a ceiling that could roll back and forth between the two stadiums. Now, would they have ever been able to pull that off? I don't know. The old Busch Stadium, Vince Coleman got ran over by a tarp. So are you going to tell me they could have rolled a rolling ceiling back and forth? But they were thinking about that back then because of elements. I think the major reason they're moving the stadium in Kansas City is they want the things surrounding the stadium, the hotels, the bars, the restaurants. Where the stadium sit right now, it's great for parking and getting in and out, but it's a desert out there as far as other businesses.
Will you guys indulge me for a brief first-person story? I went to the first game at what is now Kauffman Stadium, but the Royal Stadium back in 1972 with the late Aldo Sieben and with Mark Stillwell, one of my close buddies. And three of us went up there. And, guys, it was the Royals and the Texas Rangers. The sky was cloudless. Stars, the moon, temperature was, it was like what it is now. It wasn't 15 degrees, but it was right around freezing. And a big crowd. Everybody showed up. They had, maybe 41,000 in there for the game, and everybody was having a good time. The broadcast was being piped through the stadium, and you could hear Denny Matthews calling the shots and things like that. And at one point he says, and this is a quote, fans, It's surprisingly comfortable out here tonight. We looked at each other and, ooh, you don't know what you're down there in that heated booth. That's
well, you're talking about the obviously Kansas City's doing the new stadium in the hopes of getting a Super Bowl. But do you think the NFL, they've kind of strayed away from going to cold weather cities because of everything else that happens around the event? Do you think that could be a detriment to Kansas City? Because even if it's domed, it doesn't mean it's going to be warm in February now.
No, but you won't be losing your fingers going in there on a night when it's below zero or something like that. I think that figures into the mix, yeah. We live in a much more comfortable seeking society than used to be back in the old days. Heck, remember the games at Metropolitan Stadium up in Minneapolis when the Minnesota Vikings be snowing and they'd come out in short sleeves and things like that?
Yeah, Bud Grant would just have a golf shirt on. But the other thing is, back then, Soldier Field, Lambeau Field, wasn't that considered a home field advantage because you adapt to your elements?
It was, and it certainly did help the Green Bay Packers in the Ice Bowl game against the Dallas Cowboys because they were accustomed to it. But by the same token, there have been other situations which has been detrimental. Packers and the New York Giants playing in the NFC Championship game. I've forgotten what year.
1960.
Well, Brett Favre was quarterback.
Oh, okay. You mean later on. I thought you were talking about the Bart Starr.
No. That was against the Cowboys. The Giants and the Packers played for the championship, and I want to say it was maybe, 2005 or 26, whatever it was. Favre, it was 0 degrees. And what's it say? Oh, we need to. Producer tells me we need to get out of here.
He's tired of hearing us talk. We're
10
minutes into the show. So
I just know Coach Cunningham's going to be pressed for time as she's preparing, and I know she's
that's
coming
a good
up.
point, Guy. And actually, this is what Ned and I do sometimes at his office, and other people leave too. So
and they do, and they bail out in droves. We'll take a time out on the starting lineup. Back in just a second.
You're listening to the starting lineup with Scott Puryear, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.